this growing known universe. Happy Monday. Today we are coming at you live as we will every Monday for a while from Midtown Bar and Grill on West Gray, 415 West Gray. Great place if you haven't been here yet. Food's terrific. They're also great for Uber Eats and things like that. Really big menu. Check it out online and come by and say hello. And when you do, make sure you say hello to Tommy because he's always here. He lives here. All right, we got a lot to get to today. Dalton Brown's going to join me, and I can't wait to get to the college football playoff because we totally disagree, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Most of the time, people are smart enough to agree with me, so we'll see how it goes. I want to thank Mark, B. Hannon, Chase, Donna, Todd S., Chris Perez, all for supporting the show. And if you want to continue to do that, it's just the Venmo's on the screen here. It's at Fred-Faour. And I want to get to the Texans real quick before I bring in Dalton because interesting game yesterday, another win, firmly in the playoff race. I mean, I think their next 5 games, if they can come out of that 3-2, they're in. And I think all of them are winnable, but with a team that is young, they're also all losable. And I think that's going to make for an entertaining stretch run here because right now the Texans are where, average to slightly above average teams are in the NFL, where everything comes down to the end. And good teams find ways to win. Bad teams find ways to lose. And in the past, the Texans would always find ways to lose these games. As they get better, I think we're seeing them win more. They didn't get Jacksonville last week, but I think Jacksonville's a better team. However, they did get the Broncos, who come in having won 6 in a row. I have one main complaint, and that is with the coaching staff. They did a great job on everything yesterday, except why the hell was Tank Dell out there pushing Dameon Pierce, who, by the way, I don't ever need to see on the field again. But why was he in the middle of the pile at the goal line? I've talked all year about how Tank is a really great weapon if you use him right. You have to be careful. You can't do stuff like that. And Tank's a football player. He's going to try to do it. But that was just horrible. And, I think whoever was responsible for that, I'm going to admonish you today, sir. Welcome in Flip. Welcome in Chuck D. Welcome in Zed. Welcome in Alan Denson. B. Hannon in the house. A lot of my favorite people already here. So welcome in. We're going to have a fun show. Before I get to Dalton, I want to tell you about the Phoenix on Westheimer. It is another one of my go-to places. Great place. Premier League, Champions League, best soccer bar in the city. They have a Penn State group for basketball now. Another place with great food. Shocker. That's what I keep doing. I go to places with great food. Great food, great people. The staff is terrific. And, you catch me there a lot of afternoons during the week. It's a really cool place to be. And if you're a fan of any team, they're going to have the game on when it comes to soccer. So go check them out. That's the Phoenix on Westheimer. So without further ado, welcome in Sed, welcome in Joel, and welcome in Dalton Brown. What's up, brother?
How we doing?
Fantastic. Yeah, I saw your tweets yesterday, and I'm like, I got to get Dalton on tomorrow. We got to get into this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let's.
You know where I stand already pretty well then.
Yeah, so go ahead and tell the people because they may not follow you on Twitter, and they should. It's Dalton on Sports. He's a great follow, a good friend. So let's start with the college football playoff and tell them what you think.
Yeah, I mean, look, for me, what it comes down to is I think Florida State did everything that they needed to do and then some to get in. I understand why people don't want to watch Florida State get into the playoff as a big underdog. I understand why that's not attractive, and I understand why that's not what we want to watch. To me, that's just not how we should be making decisions. We also shouldn't be making decisions based on what we think is going to happen. We should make decisions based on what happened. The reality is, even after Jordan Travis went down, Florida State continued to not only meet but exceed expectations. The spread of that game against Louisville when Jordan Travis was healthy, because that game was scheduled 3 weeks in advance. When Jordan Travis was projected healthy, the spread of that game was Florida State minus 9.5. Florida State won the game by 10. So they exceeded what the Jordan Travis expectation was for that game without him. In order for me to be okay with the one-loss teams getting in over Florida State, it needs to be clear and obvious that the other one-loss teams, as they're currently constructed, are better than Florida State. I think way too much weight was put specifically on Alabama's win over Georgia, and a lot of their other shortcomings this season, including the week before, were conveniently ignored. I have a lot more, but I'll stop there, and I think you kind of get where I'm going with it.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Listen. I feel bad for Florida State. Don't get me wrong, but I think they made the right decision. And I go to when you look at the data points. So, are we going to punish Alabama and Texas for playing each other? I mean, that's the kind of football we want to see. Now, this isn't going to matter next year. I mean, we'll be arguing about Oklahoma State versus Duke or something, getting in 12th. But even if you had 6 teams this year, there was going to be an argument because I think you can make a pretty damn good case for Ohio State too. And the way I look at it, it's from Alabama's perspective. I mean, not all Power Fives are created equal, and the ACC wasn't good this year. Let's be honest. I mean, it was basically a glorified American conference. And so, what is Florida State's best win? And you tell me LSU. Well, Alabama did that one, and they also beat Georgia. And I'm not even going to hear an argument against Texas because their best win was Alabama. And when you look at it like that, I think even Washington. Now, if you want to try to argue against the other undefeated, I mean, Washington had to beat Oregon twice, and the Pac-12 was better than the ACC this year. They weren't as good the second half of the season, but early on they were pretty damn good. So, yeah, they did everything they could do, but sometimes it's not enough. And I'm sorry, ACC. Welcome to the world of undefeated, American teams before Cincinnati. It's just the way it fell. And the other thing I'll say is like, oh well, Power Five, undefeated Power Five has never been left out. It's not really a Power Five anymore. For one thing, it's going to be a Power Four. But the real thing is that your conference just wasn't good enough. And if you look at who's in there, those 4 teams, you know where they are next year? All 4, Big Ten and SEC. And
So-
I don't have hatred for the little guy, but I do have love for the big guy.
So how do we measure though that the ACC was worse than the SEC? Like how are you measuring? Because that is the first thing that I would object to.
Why?
Well, because the ACC had a winning record straight up against the SEC this year. The SEC had the worst record of all the Power Five of any Power Five conference in out of conference games against other Power Five schools. And I understand that the SEC is recruiting the best athletes. I understand that if we're just running scouting reports on teams, that the SEC would be the best. But like at some point, shouldn't it matter that the SEC lost 6 of the 10 games it played head to head against the ACC?
Can you list me all of those? Because some of them are like Clemson over South Carolina. They're meaningless. And by the way, the team in the championship game got its ass handed to them by Kentucky, who's a very mid-level SEC program.
Well, I'm glad you bring up that win because that win is the best out-of-conference win the SEC had all season, was over Louisville. If you look at games that the SEC as a conference played out of conference, that was the best win the conference had. So I understand why we think the SEC is the best conference. Like I get that in terms of the talent they bring in, that's the assumption. And in terms of the history over the last 10 to 20 years, I understand why that's the assumption. But there was nothing that we saw on the field this season in terms of results that suggested that. The win over Florida State that everybody is not wanting, or the win over Louisville that everybody's not wanting to give Florida State credit for, Louisville was the best out-of-conference win for the SEC all season. All season.
Well, I'll ask you this. How much would Alabama be favored over Florida State on a neutral, even if Florida State had its quarterback?
Oh, I mean, if Florida State had Jordan Travis, I think the game's close to a pick-up, truthfully. I don't know, and we won't know. That being said, to me, if we're going to let betting odds determine it, I think that this thing's rotten to its core. I mean, at that point, Ohio State should be in over Washington. To me, if we're going to start letting betting odds determine it, we really shouldn't have these guys going out there and playing 13 games and risking injury, because at the end of the day, like, power ratings are power ratings. So I think that's just a rotten way to go about it in general. Speaking to what those wins were for the ACC, I mean, we're talking about Miami blowing out Texas A&M. We're talking about, Florida State blowing out LSU to start the season. You talk about the fact Alabama challenged themselves with Texas. It didn't go so well. Florida State challenged themselves with LSU and passed us with flying colors on a neutral site.
Yeah, except Alabama also has that data point against LSU, and it wasn't a home game. So I don't think it was. I'll have to check.
But it was, but yeah.
But so was Florida State. But here's the thing that I would also say is that I think the committee took into account. It's simple eye test, man. I watched a lot of ACC football. They're not good. That's just not a good conference. And the Pac-12 is better. And I watched a lot of SEC. I mean, there are teams like Ole Miss that are as good as any team in the ACC. And Ole Miss is a team Alabama had to beat. Now, a lot of people say you could make a case for Georgia too. I do believe it's important to win your championship game. If you're in the mix. If you're not, and again, if you don't get the fourth down last week, we're not having this conversation because a 2-loss Alabama isn't getting in. Now we'd probably be arguing between Georgia and Florida State at that point. But I also say, Ohio State should be in this conversation. They had a really good win over Notre Dame when Notre Dame was good, and their only loss is to the number one team. So, you could make it a case for 7 teams this year. And like I said, next year it's not going to matter. But, this is a system we have. And I really think that if I were picking 4 teams, that's the 4 I would have picked.
Yeah, I just think that, number one, I agree on what you're saying on Ohio State in general. I would put in Ohio State over Alabama or Georgia, Texas for that matter. I think Ohio State is the most deserving among the 1-loss teams. The reason that didn't happen is because Alabama and Texas won their conference. Fair enough, I can accept that. What I can't get past is the idea that because Florida State's quarterback gets hurt, all of a sudden their next 2 games don't matter. I think that needs to be told to those players before those games. Because if those games don't matter, why is Keon Coleman, who's going to be a first-round pick in the NFL draft, out there playing?
But you don't know that, though. That's the thing. You had to let it play out. What if Oklahoma State had actually beaten Texas? What if Iowa somehow realized it wasn't the worst team in the country with 10 wins and somehow beat Michigan? You didn't know how it was going to play out. And yeah, so you can't say that. You can't say, well, 2 weeks ago we should have just told them they weren't going to get in because you didn't know. And if Georgia beats Alabama, I think they're in. I think they would have had a chance to be in there. So
I don't, to be honest. But I guess the issue that I take with the whole thing is that we're making a lot of assumptions about what Florida State becomes once their quarterback is hurt. The reality is, once Florida State lost their quarterback, they went on the road and beat an SEC team, and then they played in their conference title game, won by double digits, and allowed 2.7 yards per play to a team that averaged 33 points per game this season, in a conference that I understand you think it sucks, but in a conference that went 6-4 against the SEC this season. At a certain point, we can sit here and say, I watched it, I didn't like what I saw. But if the results don't matter, why aren't we just going to practice, scouting the teams at practice, and then deciding who we want to watch? If this was about who we want to watch, then we don't need a regular season. I don't need Jordan Travis even risking that injury if at the end of the season we're just going to be going off what we feel like watching. I don't know. I feel very strongly about that particular case because I keep going back to the fact that Florida State, when Jordan Travis was healthy, was a projected 9.5-point favorite in that game. And they found a way to cover that number anyway because their defense was really good. Who's to say that Jalen Milroe is going to do all sorts of things against Florida State's defense? He couldn't against South Florida. He couldn't against Auburn. He couldn't against Arkansas. I think we're making a lot of assumptions here based off of views of the conference that don't reflect what actually happened this season.
Yeah, but if we're going to go back to South Florida, they ran 3 quarterbacks out there. They had no idea what they were doing at that point, and they finally settled on their quarterback. I don't think the argument's about Jordan Travis. I just think the argument's about the resume, and I think Alabama's resume is better. And it's that simple. Who has the best win? And it was over Georgia. Is Florida State going to beat Georgia? I don't think so. And the other part about it is I think that as far as the as this system goes, it's never been perfect. But in all the years, we've only had 3 arguments, really. And it's this year, you go back to the Ohio State, Baylor, TCU argument, and Ohio State won the championship that year. And then I think COVID year, A&M should have been over Notre Dame. And I don't even think that should have been debatable. It's just they want to stick the golden helmet in there again for them to get their asses kicked, as they do every time when they make it. But, in this case, yeah, you can make a good case for all the teams, but I don't think it's egregious at all. And I don't think that and Behannon brings up Cincinnati getting in. You know what had to happen for Cincinnati to get in? Okie State had to come up 6 inches short against Baylor in the Big 12 championship. So, if Okie State wins that game, unbeaten Cincinnati does not get in that playoff. And, I mean, it's just the way they do it. And there's a lot of judgment to it. And we can disagree with judgment. And it's like watching interference calls not called late in the game. But the reality is this is the system they've been using. Now, I don't like the idea of 12 teams. I wish they'd gone to 8. And you'd have a pretty good 8 this year. Because like I said, I think you got 7 that you could make a case could win the national championship. And I think you would have had a nice field. When we get to 12, that's it. We're just going to be arguing over who's 11 and 12. And it'll be, really cute for Tulane to get in and stuff like that. And then, maybe they win a game. We say, oh, look, they belong. And then they'll run into a Georgia and get their heads handed to them. But, I'm glad Georgia's out. I'm kind of Georgia's out. But, again, that's another team you can make a case for that. But although I think their schedule, especially with the SEC East, was a lot softer. And really, this was their best test, and they didn't pass it. So I say if Florida State had one win, like if they played Notre Dame and won that.
I mean, come on. I mean, do we not think LSU's better than Notre Dame? They beat LSU by 3 touchdowns on a neutral field.
I think, though, that's not enough of a data point to take them over Alabama, who did the same thing. They beat the same team, along with Ole Miss. And give me an Ole Miss on your schedule. You didn't have one.
Ole Miss almost lost to Tulane. I mean, like, I understand that we enter these seasons.
Well, okay. Florida State almost lost to Boston College, of all things, all right, with their quarterback.
Sure. Florida State played a game or two that were closer than they should be. Alabama played a lot of those too. Alabama struggled against 4-8 Arkansas. They needed a miracle to beat Auburn. They didn't just lose to Texas either. They were blown out in that game. It was not close at the end. At the end of the day, like, we can sit here and talk about who has the better win between Florida State and Alabama. Only one of them has a loss. Like, at what point does it matter? I mean, I don't know.
Well, it doesn't matter who you lose to. I mean, if their one loss was Auburn, I'm not arguing with you, but their one loss was against Texas. And, you look at Texas's one loss against Oklahoma, rivalry game, which does mean something. And they were the better team that day. They had fluke turnovers. They had the 4th down play that came up short. I don't know what they were thinking there. And, really, you look at the rest of their schedule. Yeah, UH played them close, but that was UH's Super Bowl. Last time they're ever going to play them, but they had no chance of beating them. There was no point in that game, and that was with a backup quarterback. And then Kansas State, really good team, backup quarterback. So, I mean, that's a really good Texas team that they lost to.
But how many excuses are we going to make for Alabama's close games and Texas's close games? Meanwhile, Florida State played almost no close games, and oh, by the way, they didn't lose. I mean, like, I just don't understand. To me, if the ACC has a winning record against the SEC in head-to-head play, the SEC of the Power 5 conferences has the worst out-of-conference record against other Power 5 teams. Like, at what point do we not consider the SEC the best because of things they've done over the last decade and start evaluating what actually happened on the field this year?
I think we are evaluating what happened on the field this year. And, I know that, like I said, it's not fair that somebody got left out, but I mean, I don't see it as anywhere near being like, oh, they got robbed. It's like somebody was going to get robbed, and that it just happened to be your guys.
Well, they're not Mike. I don't like Florida State at all. To be clear, I'm a Duke guy.
I know you're an ACC guy though. So
well, yeah. I mean, Florida State's going to lead the ACC regardless. But I guess in closing on this topic, right? That the last thing that I would say is we can sit here and say, okay, somebody was going to get screwed over. Everybody is going to have a gripe if they don't get in. But the reality is that these other teams that we're talking about, like, can point to one game and say, hey, if we did our job that day, we're in. Florida State can't look at a single game on their schedule and say, hey, if we'd done better that day, we'd be in. People are going to make the argument that the ACC title game is an example of that. But to me, just because they didn't win pretty doesn't mean they didn't win convincingly. And so I don't know. That's all I got on it. I feel very strongly about it. And I know you do too, and that's what makes it fun. But.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say this: it's the ACC championship game. Their defense was phenomenal, and Louisville was a weird team all year. I mean, I followed them a lot. I bet on them a lot, and there were times when their quarterback was just awful, and that's how they lost early on. And then when they're playing well, they beat Notre Dame. I mean, they're just a weird team. I think they're a good team, and just not really part of this conversation. But Jeff Brom gets a real quarterback. Watch out for those guys. That's going to be a great program. So anyway, fun stuff. What'd you think of the games? I think really the one I wouldn't say it surprised me because I loved Washington plus 9.5, but because I thought. Going in, well, they beat them by 3 at home, so technically these teams are even. I think the market kind of adjusted because Oregon was smashing everybody after that, and Washington wasn't. And Washington goes in there and gets a win.
Yeah, I think for Washington, it was validating in a lot of ways that people needed it to be for them. Because my overarching thought after their first game against Oregon was Washington pulled this out at home, but Oregon looked like the better team to me, maybe. And I was really hoping that in the Pac-12 title game, because it was telegraphed pretty early on, that's what we were going to get, right? And I was really hoping that in that Pac-12 title game, I'd be able to lay maybe 2 with Oregon, 3 with Oregon. And I'm really glad it wasn't that number because I would have been on Oregon. I think the adjustment was way too big to get anywhere near 9.5 or 10. But I had started to lose a little bit of faith in Washington, and a game like that tells me that, hey, maybe against Arizona State and Stanford and whatnot, you just weren't so focused, and if you're at your best, you're a damn good team. So, I thought it was validating for them in a really positive way.
Having said that, I think we could have a Texas-Alabama rematch here. I'm not going to be shocked if Alabama meets Michigan, although Michigan has one of the best defensive lines I've seen. I mean, they're just amazing up front. But I wouldn't be shocked if we have Alabama and Texas again. I think Texas is going to beat Washington.
I think Texas-Washington is going to be a really good game. I took the 4.5 at open with Washington just because I don't feel like I know enough about Washington, But I not a high level of confidence for me there. I do feel pretty strongly about Alabama over Michigan. In fact, and this is where I imagine a lot of folks would disagree, but I would have had Michigan at number 3. I would have had Washington at number 1, Florida State at number 2, Michigan at number 3. We don't need to rehash the Florida State thing again, but for me, the schedule that Michigan played was, it was horrendous, right? You played 4 cupcakes in a conference. You only have 8 conference games, and really only 2 of them were remotely challenging, Penn State and Ohio State.
Right.
Even their championship game, you go into it as a 22-point favorite. So I don't think Michigan is very well tested, and I think you're giving Saban a month to prepare. Alabama at anything plus money is a bet worth making, I think.
Yeah, and can we just ban Iowa from life? I mean, you want to talk about something you don't want to watch. And, give them credit. They're basically, I was talking to my brother about this last night. They're the college version of the Jets right now. They got a really good defense, but watching them try to score is like me going into a bar with a bunch of hot women. I mean, it's impossible. So I don't ever want to see them in a championship game again. And hopefully we won't have that, right? Hopefully, we'll have now that we have a different Big Ten, we won't have to see Iowa in there. But anyway, but yeah, I think that's the. I like both of those. One thing I'll talk about Washington a little bit is in the past they've had fantastic defenses. Now they've got a cornerback who is as good as anybody in the country, but this is not the Washington defense that they've had years past. And it's funny because they kind of helped me get on Arizona when Arizona gave them a game when they changed quarterbacks.
Yeah.
At that point, Washington was still really good, and so I bet Arizona the rest of the way, and cashed pretty much all year on that. But I do think that they will have trouble stopping Texas's run game, and I think Texas has other guys besides Worthy on the outside that I don't know that Washington will be able to handle. Now, offensively, Washington shouldn't have any problems. I mean, Texas has a good defense, but you need good Michael Penix to show up too, and not second half of the season Michael Penix.
Yeah, but I think the counter to second half of the season, Michael Penix is what we've seen from big game Michael Penix. There aren't a ton of those data points to be fair, but both games against Oregon, he was pinpoint excellent. So to me, I think that Washington Texas game, especially being played on a fast track in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I think that game is going to be high scoring, exciting. Maybe whoever has the ball last. That's my instinct on it.
All right. Anything else jump out? My other thing too, if we're going to talk about something egregious, I know they were unbeaten, but SMU would beat a hole through Liberty. I think they should have got the New Year's Six, and I don't have any love for SMU, and they're going to be part of your family next year. Sort of. They're not getting paid for 7 years. It's like, welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I think FSU got a little bit of the Florida State treatment. Quarterback Preston Stone gets hurt, and out they go. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. Liberty played the 133rd ranked strength of schedule out of 133 teams. They didn't beat anybody all season. I think FSU. I think SMU Oregon would be a much more fun game.
Yeah, and I would have liked that because I always like a team like SMU against a team like Oregon who was in the mix for the playoff until right at the end. And I've cashed a lot on that over the years with the UCFs of the world and Utah when they went in and beat Alabama and people like that. So I looking at the bowl matchups, I'm not really getting that. It's like I'm getting Florida State, Georgia. It's like I'd want to fade them both.
The perfect example of that was Tulane USC last year. That was perfect storm. Same situation. It's a bummer because Oregon Liberty, even if Oregon comes out flat, they're going to win by 2 touchdowns.
I'll ask you this, and I'm gonna ask Tracy about it in a little bit when she pops on. But what do you think of Willie Fitz to my Houston Cougars?
I mean, it's hard to not be excited about it. I mean, if you can do what he did at Tulane, which obviously is a pretty academically difficult school to win at, it's a school that kind of built the stadium while he was there. I mean, the strides that program took under him in terms of both the talent that's there and what it produced on the field, it's hard to argue against it. I mean, it's the right kind of hire as you enter the Big 12 and try to become one of those bigger players.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful that he can get it turned around pretty quickly. I'm just concerned about him being 63 years old because, I'm not that old. I want to live long enough to see this team be good again. And, I don't know if it's a 5-year turnaround. Then it took him about that at Tulane before they were getting to bowl games anyway.
Yeah, I would offer one maybe different way to look at that, and this is coming from a Duke fan. When you hire an up and comer, and you're not one of the top tier programs, which it's not. I think Houston maybe has that in them someday, but right now Houston's not like a top tier premier program. You can run into a problem like Duke had with Mike Elko, where if you're successful for a year or two, that guy might bolt immediately. So maybe hiring a 63-year-old, he hangs around for 5 or 10 years instead and legitimately builds something. Maybe that's the counterpoint, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I love the Mike Elko hire for the Aggies. I know that sucks for you, but that team's defense has never been the same since he left. He did an amazing job last year. He gets his quarterback hurt this year, or who knows what their record would have been. I think he's going to do great things at A&M.
Yeah, I think he will too. I think he's a hell of a coach. It's really hard to say anything negative about what he was able to do in his 2 years at Duke. The way he left was total cowardice and really left Duke in a position where they weren't any better than he found it, sadly. But at the same, I'll put it this way: I don't blame the guy for leaving, but meet with your players first.
Yeah, I mean, and I will also, just to get back to the Fritz thing, I didn't like the way that it came out while they were in the championship game, because UH has been through that with Kevin Sumlin, and it cost them a Conference USA championship. So I didn't like that happened, and I just wish guys would handle it better. But anyway, all right. Well, anything jump out even from the NFL yesterday? I hit on the Texans at the top, but you had the Chiefs going down. You had the 49ers just absolutely prison raping the Eagles. Anything else stand out from yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that the day's two biggest winners were the 49ers and the Packers. I mean, the 49ers, I was all over them going into that game. I was all over them going into last year's NFC title game, too. I think they're the best team in that conference. And to me, it's going to be them and the Ravens in the Super Bowl. Now, a lot can change, but and then the Chiefs were the other one for me, that game with the Packers. Number one, Jordan Love, if he can play like that all the time, that's a real team in the bad NFC.
Yeah.
And from the Chiefs' perspective, they have to find some sort of way to be explosive, because teams are just making them play underneath, and it forces them to really be perfect. And it's creating issues for them if they fall behind in games.
Well, I would also say that it's not just the drops; it's the bad routes. This receiver group is a bunch of practice squad players, and as great as Patrick Mahomes is, other than Travis Kelce, he doesn't have anything. And it's funny because everybody looks at the drops, but if you look closely, you got guys running bad routes. That's what happened on the interception. Sky Moore just quit on the ball or ran the wrong route, whatever it was. He just looked lost out there, and it led to an interception. So, I mean, I think it's a deeper problem for the Chiefs. And what sucks is they're actually playing defense. They actually have a good defense, and now they don't have any offense. All right, Dalton, great stuff, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming on. Enjoyed the debate, and we'll do this again real soon, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. A lot of fun.
All right, good stuff there, and I like it every now and then when we can have a healthy disagreement. One thing we all agree on is Dr. Linville. And guys, if you want to get the NeoGraft procedure, Dr. Linville's got you covered. I had mine done. I'll show it. I'll show it right here on the thing. And it's all still there. I mean, all of it. I mean, I was completely bald right up here. And, I was actually going to not wear the hat today, but I was kind of in a weird mood. I kind of wanted, this is sort of my ghetto semi-cold weather look. So want to do that for the show today. But no, the hair is great. And basically right now you can get the whole thing for $3.50 per graft. And all you have to do is go to hairspecialisthouston.com/getfalconhair, and they'll take care of you. He has a individualized plan for every patient. Does a great job. And if you book it through the website, or if you just call them and tell them that you heard about it on Falconcast, your consult fee will be waived. That's a $150 value. Hey, holidays are coming. Now's the time to gussy yourself up. He also does amazing plastic surgery. And we've talked about this on the show in the past with our next guest, who her boobs are brought to you by Dr. Linville. It's our good friend Tracy. What's going on, Tracy? LSU.
I'm wearing red today, Fred. I lost my voice yesterday a little bit, screaming at the TV in pleasure.
Yeah, you're a big 49ers fan, which
huge.
A lot of these guys might not know, but so you had to enjoy that yesterday. I was going to text you, and then I decided I'd be more of a jerk and text my Philly friend. But yeah, that was
It was awesome. It was all after the first quarter. First quarter, I was not pleased. And I was cussing a lot. But after that, it was awesome to see them perform that way, which we all knew they can. I mean, they've outscored Dallas and the Eagles now, 84-29?
Yeah, they definitely don't like the NFC East. But no, I think it seems as simple as having Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel back.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it is.
It is. Look where they ran the ball. They ran it to Trent's side, and he would just blow people up. I mean, off the ball. And they don't have linebackers to deal with that. Most teams don't.
No, and I've always said this: if you have a great left tackle, it makes your whole line better. I mean, because there's so much, it takes pressure off other players on the line, and it gives your team a better chance to win the game. And of course, Deebo is just a monster. He showed it last night. I mean, and we saw a couple of attempts at arm tackling him. Good luck with that. He's so explosive, and when you have him and McCaffrey out there.
Well, all three guys, Kittle, McCaffrey, and Deebo, are so hard to tackle. You can't tackle those guys.
And Brock Purdy's a legitimate quarterback. I think we can quit saying, "Oh, what a cute story it was," right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when he wins the Super Bowl this year, that's all going to end.
Well, I think it's them and the Ravens, but we'll see. All right, let's talk about the college football playoff a little bit. We hit on it. Dalton and I kind of went at it pretty good over it. Just curious to your thoughts. Oh yeah, he thought Florida State should be in, and I'm just like, I'm okay with the way it came out.
I'm okay with it, but I think it's absolutely shitty. But here's the thing people forget. I think if Georgia would have won, Texas would have been 4, and they still would have been left out. The committee started making that precedent when Travis went down. They started talking about the injury and things like that. So they set the tone. They were telling you who was in. So it wasn't a surprise to me at all that Bama got in, and I hate Bama. I absolutely loathe them. But
I thought you loved that little elephant.
No, they're just not the same team. You put LSU up against Florida State with that quarterback. Come on. I mean, that game wouldn't be the same. You can't. If any of these top teams, except I think yours, proved that they could still win, even though it wasn't exactly pretty. But Texas still looked like Texas with their backup. Florida State did not look the same offensively with their backups in at all.
Yeah.
So I agree with, even though it sucks and, you feel for these guys, it is what it is. But here's the thing, their athletic director, they could have gone to a 12 team. The SEC and the Big Ten, or the SEC wanted the 12-team playoff, and everyone else was like, no, because they all thought the SEC would get all these teams in. Well, if that was the case, Florida State would be in this year, and their athletic director shot it down along with the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. So, that it seems to be their problem. They voted for it.
Well, and I think how many would the SEC have this year? I'm guessing Ole Miss would be in.
LSU would be 13, and that would really piss LSU fans. I would be mad.
That would make you mad, but
mad. We would, but you get it. We didn't have a defense, and you would get it. You would say, okay, what are we going to do? Let's get better on defense next year. It would suck. 13 is now going to be number 5.
Yeah, well, that would suck for you, but I mean, I wouldn't be pounding the table like people are over Florida State. And listen, this is a system we have right now, right?
It's all changing next year.
It's never been perfect, but it's rarely been wrong. And I think that there have been 3 times. I talked about this with Dalton. I think there's been 3 times where there was a real debate. One was Ohio State, TCU, or Baylor, and Ohio State wound up winning that year when they got in. I still to this day say A&M should have got over Notre Dame, and
everybody does, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, all right. So
Bama beating Georgia was, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it would be a close game, but I was stunned that Bama they didn't dominate the game, but they controlled the game. You always felt like, okay, when's Georgia gonna start getting this together. And
Right.
had less than 100 yards rushing. Brock Bowers was held to 53 yards. You can't win without your guys showing up, and they just didn't. I don't know. I'm actually really surprised Kirby didn't have his team just raring to go, because they have lost to Nick Saban now in what I think that's their 4th or 5th SEC championship game. That's pathetic.
Yeah, and the one thing we talked about Georgia all year is they would wear you down with their lines in the 2nd half. Bama's didn't happen with Bama. I thought I really thought that the defensive front of Georgia would have some success against Alabama's offensive line, but guess what? This isn't the same OL that they had earlier in the year. So
yeah, it wasn't a very spectacular game to watch. Either team had a little over 300 yards offense, but it was kind of like a tit for tat. But I was just really surprised that Georgia didn't find a way to do it. And Milroe, he wasn't spectacular, but he got the job done.
And it's funny, if you go back, if they don't get that 4th and 31, we're not having any conversation.
Oh my gosh,
about the college football
it's crazy.
Yeah,
I hate Auburn just for that. America should just hate Auburn that Bama's in. So there you go.
Yeah, my joke was that Auburn brought in the UH defense for one play. So.
Oh my God, the LSU defense, Fred, you forgot to.
Yeah, well, you guys
defense in LSU history played this year.
Yeah, you guys suck more than we did, but we were pretty bad. So, what do you think about?
I think Michigan and Alabama is going to be spectacular to watch. I mean, seriously, in the Rose Bowl. I think the committee was licking their chops at that one. I don't know. I think Harbaugh's got this team. There's something about like his team. They've dominated everybody now. Their strength of schedule has stunk, and I think Bama's a little more battle tested when it comes to that. But Bama's also very young. They're a young team. So we're going to see if they can handle the moment. And that's going to be Nick Saban trying to coach them up again and producing on the biggest stage. And we can see if they can handle it.
All right. So 2 things real quick before I let you go. And by the way, so Virginia Button, we said go Avs. She's also an Avs fan. So your thoughts on Willie Fritz, and then we'll wrap it up with you crowning your Heisman winner.
I truly am so sad for Tulane, because I think U of H got an amazing coach, and Tulane lost one. So we're going to see what happens to Tulane. But I think U of H righted the ship. I know you're friends with Dana, but it was a complete poop show. And I think that Willie's going to recruit some of the Texas players to stay home, Houston area specifically, and get the players needed to compete in the Big 12. It is a changing landscape in the Big 12. He has a big opportunity to do what he did at Tulane and take them to rankings. I think it's going to take a bit, but I think they have a case to get there. The Big 12 without Texas and Oklahoma isn't very attractive, I hate to say right now. So U of H is going to have a chance.
Yeah, somebody's going to need to step up, and I think it's the programs that are potentially could do that is Houston. I think Arizona is on the verge of being a really strong program.
Yeah.
And Utah is already a strong program. The thing is, I don't know how much money Arizona's going to spend. All right, let's crown him. I don't see any.
He's there. He got it, Fred.
I
told you
against him right now.
His odds are minus 1,400. I think that's pretty much a slam dunk at this point. I see nobody taking him over. Penix was too far behind and had a couple bad games, whereas Jane Daniels didn't have one bad game, not one. So Bo Nix knocked himself out. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I think Daniels is going to run away with this thing, and he should. The right guy is going to get the trophy instead of a team. And here's the thing. That's why crowning people before it happens should never happen. Oregon was supposed to whip up on Washington, and boy, the Huskies went in there and they actually whipped Oregon. It wasn't as close as it felt. That game was not as close as it seemed. Washington controlled that game the entire way.
Yeah, and I actually love Washington.
Going to win it.
Yeah, plus 9.5. Yeah, I mean, there's no argument to be made for anybody else. I think the only thing that was left was Bo Nix had to crap the bed.
He did.
And not have a big game and lose, and that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, I think your guy's going to win it. Tracy, great stuff as always. Let's jump on next week if you're available, and we'll look at some bowl games, and we'll talk about your beloved Niners again, because I feel like they're going to keep winning. So
yes, thanks, Fred. Have a good week.
All right, you too. Okay, before we bring on another pair of really large boobs, I have to tell you about Piper's Plumbing. And guys, if you need a plumber, they're it. They're based in League City area, but they'll come a lot of places. Just give them a call and find out. 832-632-2583. Joseph and his team are terrific, and they offer warranties. They take care of everything. So no matter what it is, you got stuffed pipes, your water heater's a problem, drain blocked, all of that. They got you covered. Faucets, garbage disposal, and they use quality brands. They do quality work, and more importantly, they're quality people. 832-632-2583 for Piper's Plumbing. All right, my good buddy Eva Elliott is here on her way to do a show tonight. So just come on over. You can pull up a chair. People would rather see you than me. I mean, I know that, but yeah, just
I am pretty cute.
yeah, you're all right. You're pretty cute. So welcome back, man. It's been a spell.
Hi, honey.
What you up to? You got a show tonight,
I
right?
do. I'm going to do the Riot. I got 3 minutes at the Riot, but I got an early spot. That's a big accomplishment for me. Or not accomplishment, but it's a move.
Do I need to rush you out of here?
No, it's not till 8, so I got time.
God, that's not early.
No, the show starts at 8. I'm in the first 5 people. That's a big deal. So
that's cool. Well, you are a big deal.
No,
and what else you got coming up?
I've got some other. I'm doing several shows tonight or this week, but then my next big one is Home for the Holidays at the VFW in Pearland.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
They sell 250 tickets for that. So
wow,
it's $10 a ticket. You can buy them ahead of time. You can get in touch with me or Stephen Padilla, or go to the VFW in Pearland and get your tickets. Because it's gonna be a good time. If you buy 6 tickets, you can reserve a seat, reserve a table. So that's gonna be fun. It's a really good show, and we've got Dan Hornstein, Clinton Shorter, Mark Hurtado, and me, and Stephen Padilla hosts it. So it's a lot of fun.
All right.
So
that's pretty awesome. Yeah. So I need your advice on something, because
always I'm here for you, baby.
I really think I'm a bad person for
you
this even crossing my mind.
Oh, are we qualifying that you're a bad person now? I mean, you're just generally a bad person.
I know that, but listen, we need to get your boobs better on here. There we go.
Okay, should I sit on a stack of
we should have a vote. Who has the better boobs out of you and TC? But
hers, because they know the SEC.
Yeah, it's probably fair.
Yeah.
So as you know, yesterday was the funeral for the young lady we lost last week, and this is my 5th one this year. So I went to the viewing, and stopped and talked to Mag and Annabelle for a little bit and gave them both big hugs, and then I decided I was going to leave. I just didn't want to stay for the service.
Yeah.
And so I walk out to get my Uber, and this group of about, I want to say 10 really attractive young ladies is walking in, and 2 of them smiled at me, and I'm like, oh no, am I going to have to go back in there and go full Will Ferrell from Wedding Crashers?
No, they were smiling at you because they thought you were a nice old man who they maybe needed to help into his car.
Oh. Oh, wow.
Wow. Oh, they actually maybe thought you had a Werther's Original in your pocket.
Yeah, thanks for just throwing water on me. I really thought there, and
you had
for a second. No, but I mean, the fact that thought even crossed my mind made me really feel like a turd.
You are. You're a complete turd. You're a complete and useless turd to humanity. But listen, it's not your fault. You have a dick, and y'all can't help yourselves. You just walk around just dangling this thing that makes you useless to humanity. I was in a bar the other night, and I was introduced to a guy, and within I had walked away, and I came back, and the next words out of his mouth were, "Excuse me, audience, I'm going to say something vulgar." He said to me, "I'd tear that pussy up." Those were the words that came out of his mouth to a stranger. I'd tear that pussy up. This, like, hi, how are you? How about that weather? There's so many other things you can say to a stranger. I just
nice boobs, bro.
Yeah, nice boobs. Cool boobs. No, it's cool boobs.
Sorry,
bro.
cool boobs, bro.
It just all your capacity for thought is drug out and it just falls out wherever you go. So I'm sorry for that. That's not your fault. It is your fault. I mean, but it does drag you down, and for that,
Well, okay. I mean, I can't really argue with that. I mean, why else would I want to go back? And I mean, they were really cute. So,
of course they were.
Yeah.
Of course
But,
they were.
the
And
help-
how old were they? Like 12?
No, I don't do that. Come on.
22?
I'd say late 20s.
Jesus fucking Christ. Fred, stop it. Just stop it.
What?
That is 12. That's effectively 12. 10 years ago when you were in your 40s, that was 12. Think about it that way.
It's not 12 now.
It's not 12. Jesus.
They're all grown up.
Stop it. Just stop it. That's just. You should carry Werther's originals in your pockets and then just throw them at yourself. I'm fucking with you. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I never occurred that it was to help me to the car.
Yeah, that's really, they were looking at you going, oh, he looks like Grandpa.
Oh, I did look okay. I clean up nice. I guess I looked like a nice grandpa.
You did. They were like, oh, Grandpa.
Ugh.
I wonder if he has some Viagra in his pocket.
Chuck D says, old enough to be your great granddaughter. Not really. I don't think so. Although I did meet this lady last week. Well, lady, and she seemed really mature and she seemed older. And it turns out she was 21. I'm like,
No, Fred.
That's younger than my daughter.
Yes.
That ain't happening.
Yeah, we set rules. Our children are.
I mean, I don't have many rules.
Truly, Fred. You have very few standards, rules, barriers, obstacles.
I do what I do.
Which isn't much.
Yeah. 75 quoting Dazed and Confused. The older I get, they stay the same.
The older you get, the less action you. Wait, no, okay.
Flip says you don't have 21-year-old energy. I don't have any energy right now.
That's
I'm getting better physically, but I'm still, it's just.
Look at you.
Well, I want to start lifting again, but I just now got over the neck
You
thing.
kind of feel like a Werther's original.
God, I'm gonna.
Sticky and dark yellow.
You're gonna buy me a rocking chair, aren't you, for Christmas? I'm gonna show up at home one day and there's
This
gonna be
chairs are rocking, don't bottom knock.
Oh boy.
Oh, I adore you, babe.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
And Virginia said Fred would turn down a 21. I'll believe that when my bleep turns purple and smells like rainbow sherbet.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Fred would turn down a 21-year-old the minute she opens her mouth, though, because then she start wanting to talk about things that you'd like. Oh gosh, let me show you my Instagram.
I'll just get her to close it.
Well, you put something in it. You'd attempt to put something in it, but you keep going. She'd spit it out.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That has our good rule. They got to be older than your daughter, but younger than your ex-wife.
Yeah,
I like that.
But the problem is that can be like an the confluence of that can keep getting closer and closer until you like rule yourself out of any action.
Well, but I'm not going to live long enough for her to get that old. So
Okay.
My daughter anyway.
I see.
But no, I mean I think we've discussed this. My range is 35 to 45. That's my range.
Okay, well that's a very narrow range. I'm outside of that range. Dodged the bullet there.
Oh God.
Darn! I was just so down, Fred. I can't be your next wife.
No, sorry. First of all, I'm not going to have a next wife.
I'm brokenhearted now.
No, you know what's going to happen.
I feel rejected, Fred. I'm gonna walk off set now. I'm just going. Here
Well,
we go.
you put old grandfather on me at the funeral, so
Well, you
I feel like
kind
we're
of
even.
are, dude. You're 50-something. I'm younger than you, and you just made me feel like I'm too old to get me some Fred action.
Oh, you're too encumbered to get Fred action. That's your problem. But
Covered
anyway,
with all my children. By the way, my middle one passed his driver's ed test this last week.
that's awesome.
Little fucker calls me the minute he passes it, just his driver's ed, like just the one to get his learner's permit. He calls me and says, "Mom, I passed my driver's ed test." Mind you, he's only 15. He's not even 16 yet. I passed my driver's ed test. I said, "Cool, that's great." He goes, "Can I start looking at cars?" I said, "No, you little fucker. You can start looking at your geometry work because you're not passing half your classes." So that's how my world works.
Well, I don't remember if I told you this story when my son was testing for his driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
I was teaching him, and he was driving my Expedition,
Mm-hmm.
and he came like this close to crashing into a Porsche,
Oh, that's bad.
a parked Porsche.
Oh, that's really bad.
And I just said, "All right, you're going to the lesson person. I'm not doing this." Everybody wants the camera
Okay,
lower.
here.
There
Okay.
we go. Yeah.
Is that better, everybody? I'll just be very happy and bouncy. I'm just here for the tits. I know that. I was talking to Tommy earlier about how, my value in this world is not the fact that I have an engineering degree or that I'm funny or anything else. It's just the tits. But that's fine.
Did you hear that humble brag, guys? It's not that I have an engineering degree or that I'm a really successful comedian. It's that I have breasts.
Or that I have, I have titties.
Yeah.
They make song sounds. That wasn't my mouth. That was my tits.
Yeah,
That'd be fun. That's what I should do is get like something inserted that makes my boobs make musical sounds.
oh, that'd be great for Christmas, man.
That
Get like
would.
Christmas
I
songs.
should go around the neighborhood and do like caroling.
Yeah, I like it. I don't know about your neighborhood because I'm pretty sure there'd be some little kids going, "Mommy, what's that?"
Oh, they say it's milk.
Uh,
Oh, that's bad. That's so bad. I'm sorry.
Anyway, we're out here at Midtown Bar and Grill for the
Mhm.
show, which I know you like the place too. We've
Dude, I love this place.
we all know Tommy and
Tommy's fantastic.
yeah, and
He's
so
my new bestie.
oh, he's great. And come on out here and just and support him because Tommy's supporting us. And make sure you can go and try to catch one of Eva's shows because she's hilarious. And I'm fortunate enough that sometimes we just have conversations and I get to hear what's going to become an act. And it's brilliant. I mean, she's just so funny. She's one of the funniest people I've ever been around, and she knows that.
What? I thought I was the funniest. What? I've been downgraded now that I'm 50.
Well, now that everybody else can see your boobs, I'm a little.
Been like
now that I have to share your boobs.
you have to share. It's a boob. It's like a boob. It's like
No,
a timeshare
no.
thing. It's like an Uber. It's a boober.
Oh, yeah, but it's boober. Jesus.
That was so dumb. It was funny.
I know. But no, I mean, I really enjoy our conversations, and because she's like this all the time, guys. It's not like she just turns it off.
I have to tell you, I took him to dinner the other night, and I got him outside of his radius, or as I call it, because he lives in the gay neighborhood, his gaydius, because he only goes to like 3 places in his neighborhood. But I got him outside of the gaydius, so we went to a restaurant. Some of it was good. Some of it was I didn't like that one thing, but we had fun.
Yeah, we had fun.
Yeah.
I mean, then we made fun of the food then.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So it took the attention off of making fun of you. So.
Well, yeah, but
So,
I mean, I need
there's
that in my
that.
life. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why. At least when AJ and I were doing the show 5 days a week, I knew 3 of those days I was getting made fun of.
Yeah.
On average.
So when I show up, I can make fun of you. Other people will talk about sports. I'll talk about how you're Werther's original.
Oh my
It's
God.
just basically wrapped up in plastic in someone's pocket until someone has a little throat tickle.
Oh. Hey, there were a couple hotties at PJ's the other night that I had a outside shot at. They weren't helping me down the stairs.
I love how you think you have a shot at some hotties. That's so cute. I love that for you. It's good to be deluded, Fred.
What would I do without you? I mean, but hey, I'm big on failure right now, so that's a
I love that for
That's
you.
a good way to do it.
I love that for you, Fred. That's awesome.
Oh man. Anyway, and guys, I'll give everybody a warning when we're going to get Eve out here in person again, because I know a lot of you would like to come out and meet her.
I'm fun. I'm a lot of fun.
Yeah, she is, and
We can do shots together. Ooh, shot.
yeah, we'll do shots. That's always dangerous.
It is.
I got into some of those Friday night. Oof.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah. Oh, we were doing the Jello shot.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a little. Actually, apparently, it got weird after we left. I think I left before you. I don't know. Were you there when the old man almost got in a fight with the 20-year-old girl?
No, I missed that.
Dropped a C word on her.
I had to go.
It's like there was a guy at our table who I didn't really know. Friends of one of our friends, but Dana knows him from
a friend
somewhere.
of a friend is a no friend of mine.
I mean, it's okay. I mean,
Sure.
he would. I tried to buy him a shot. He wouldn't take it.
That bastard.
And
Was he communist?
probably, but apparently,
Probably didn't like dairy either. We hate him. He'd
So-
die.
my other friend at the table, who's my neighbor, is like, and you've gotten to meet him a couple times now. He's just a hound. He can pull anything, and so he was talking to this girl and doing really well with her, and then I think he left when I did. I can't really remember because it got a little fuzzy after those last few shots. But apparently, the other old guy starts hitting on another 20-year-old, and she just basically told him what you would tell me, dude, you're gross. And I would just be like, okay, yeah.
I would never tell you you're gross, Fred.
No, you just
I would
did.
write it down. I wouldn't tell you. I would hold it up behind.
You put it in Braille
I
for
would put
me.
it in Braille because you're so old. I would attach it to your Social Security check.
But he made the mistake of dropping the C word on her, and it got really ugly.
Cunt. I love that word.
I know.
That's a great
But it's, you know what? I'm just glad. And then there was also a scene downstairs with one of Dana's kids where some guy wanted to, talk crap to him because he went to Bel Air. And all this happened after
Why
I
do
left.
people want to talk crap about dumb things? Get
Oh, I know.
creative with what
And-
you're going to talk about. If you're going to talk crap about somebody, ladies and gentlemen, let me share this with you. If you're going to talk crap about somebody, talk crap about something interesting. Like, talk crap about, I don't know, whether or not they choose to peel their carrots before they eat them. Because I've met people who don't peel their carrots. What the fuck is wrong with those people? That's a monster. Where you went to high school, that's dumb. A lot of people went to that high school, and that's not a choice. But choose the thing, fuck with the things that people make a choice about. That's the stuff to fuck with them about. And weird, obscure things. Choose the obscure things. Get interesting. Don't fuck with things about where people went to school. That's dumb. You're not dumb. You listen to Falconcast. At least you people should make interesting choices about what you fuck with people about. Please, for the love of God, do that for me. Do that for Eva. Thank you very much. This has been your PSA. Good night. Da-na-na-na. The more you know. A star has now shot across the screen. Thank you. By the way, we have to go real quick. We saw something here. Somebody loves dairy. But wait, go back up. So we missed a couple things.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to touch your.
No, don't.
Okay, don't.
There's
I
certain
know.
things I don't want you touching,
Oh,
and
I
this
know.
is
You
one
don't
of them.
want me touching a lot of things because I would break it off. Okay, wait. When I'm playing Clear Lake again. Oh, well, okay. So we canceled the show at Rock Newtonies, but I won't be in Clear Lake, but I'll be in Pearland on the 29th. If you want to see me in other places in Clear Lake, you got to hit up venues and tell them that you want to see me there. Okay, there was something else though. I saw something a minute ago, and then so many people are talking and having opinions about my tits. Apparently, no, keep going. Wait, oh shit, no, it's further up. Go up. Okay, keep going up. I'm sure I'm not an X. I'm treating you like one. No, because I'm not getting any. I didn't get all of his stuff. So.
Yeah, she didn't get my dog.
I didn't get his dog. Keep going up. There was something else. Damn. There was something I missed it. Okay. Well, anyway.
Oh well.
Well, I loved all of you, and I'm sorry I missed somebody else's important comment. So
I'm sorry,
it's
guys.
Fred's fault. He made me laugh too much.
Uh,
Blame America's favorite Werther original.
And Chuck wants to get drunk with you.
Everybody wants to get drunk with me. I'm a lot of fun. I'm happy.
Chuck's a great guy, actually. I mean, everybody here is great, and I've been fortunate enough to meet most of them. But the 75 Truth wants to place in Clear Lake again.
Well, if y'all want to follow me, just follow me on social media. So I'm on Facebook or Instagram. You code Eva, EVA, Elliot, 2 L's, 2 T's. Just follow me because I just posted something about my upcoming shows, so you can find out wherever I am. And then you can follow me, and because my boobs are then live and in person.
And I'll
Click.
I'll throw it out on Twitter. I'll pick it up and put it out on Twitter.
Yeah.
Because most of my guys are Twitter guys, which
Okay, yeah, that's the.
and girls. Stop! It's not for old people.
It's not even Twitter anymore. It's X. That's an
I
old
know.
people thing to keep calling it Twitter. You're old. I love you, Fred.
Flip wants to know when is the Knicks Place reunion. I'm going to actually go over there and see Nick in a couple of weeks and see if we can't get a few shows over there as we continue to grow the Falconcast. We've got some first of the year. We're going to have more podcasts. I know some of you might have missed Sunday when I did the college football and UH thing, but I'm thinking about doing a Sunday morning NFL, quick picks thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then English Rich will be doing a writing movie TV pod with me. So that'll be fun. And I'm working on a couple others, including a music pod. But the idea is to expand Falconcast.
The whole fucking universe, man.
To make it the Falconcast network. And
it will take over the world. It will encompass everything. Oh.
But we're getting a bunch of really good new advertising, including Midtown Bar and Grill. And I want to expand the inventory so that we can do a lot more stuff. And Chuck's got a great idea. We really should do a Falconcast get together. But we do it for my birthday.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
It's coming up.
We do a boobcast.
No, you could do a boobcast. The whole thing would be like this. That's how it'd be. Just that bouncing back and forth.
It sounds really boring after about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think everybody's like, okay, I've already masturbated.
Yeah, no. It's one load and you're done.
Oh, but all right. So, do you have a question for me this week, or have we already answered them all?
Okay, yeah, I do have one.
Okay.
What makes you think you can pull 35?
I have a Wikipedia page. That never works, right? That's like my humble brag to say, oh, check out my Wikipedia page. And I had a friend of mine say, that is so douchey. I'm like, yeah, it is, but it's there. But I don't know. I mean, you'd have to be mature.
I'm not saying you can't. I just want you to dig down deep and find where your confidence is.
You really don't think I can do it?
I didn't say you couldn't. I said what makes you think you can, because you need to believe it. Because right now, Wikipedia is not the answer, motherfucker. You need to have a better answer.
King of all, which is credit and a car. I do not have a car, and that actually, it's like I dated this one woman very briefly. It was like 64. I was like expanding my horizons, and I'll try older. And she just thought it was a big deal that I didn't have a car, and I'm like, I live in Montrose. I walk everywhere. Well, when I could walk, that's probably why I needed one. Or I bike, or I Uber. I mean, the Uber to my place is not even. It's $5.
Yeah.
Because I had to go to the bank today. $5.
Yeah.
Why do I need a car?
Okay, so can I help you answer the question? Why do you think you can pull 35?
Sure.
Work on that fucking answer a little bit. Why do you think? Because you got this fucking awesome personality. You're hot. You're interesting, and you're a great salesman. That's why, not stupid Wikipedia. I got a Wikipedia page.
No, I'm a hard. This has been determined. I'm a hard 4.
Inches?
No,
Fred,
I told you
again. Work on your sales pitch. That is not how you sell it.
I told you that the woman said wouldn't date me because I was a hard 4. What I wanted to do, what Eva would have said, was, well, why don't you pull down my pants? You're half right.
That's true.
That would be something she would have said.
If you fold it in half, true.
Hey, don't we don't want that out there. Oh, anyway.
My point is, I'm not saying
know,
you can't pull 35. I'm saying you have to believe it, and you don't believe it right now because you're saying things like Wikipedia. That's the dumbest thing I've ever. Would you like a Werther's original with that answer? God damn it, Fred. Work on this.
Oh, it's just listen.
Hey, Falconcast land. Tell Fred why he can pull 35 because it's not Wikipedia. He's got me sitting next to him. Clearly, he's got something to offer the world.
Views of your tits on my podcast, yeah. That's about it. No, I mean, I just don't have my confidence back.
Work on that shit.
Yeah, right now, I'm working on building this business. I'm so excited about expanding everything and some of the cool things that I got going on. But, I'm not really like I'm just not really willing to put any effort into anything right now.
Mhm.
If
Yeah,
that
we
makes
know
sense.
this. We can see this. We smell it from a mile away, sir.
Oh,
We know when a
God.
man won't put any effort into. I'm gonna tear that pussy up. Yeah, we know you're not gonna put any effort in.
I would never. You know what? I would never say anything like that to anybody in a million years.
You would think
Did it work?
You,
By the way.
no, it didn't.
Oh, okay.
I had to. Oh my God, it was so gross. Ugh. It does not work. But here's the thing. Here's the thing: is I get a lot of men who want to compliment my looks, and I understand where it comes from because men think that you're supposed to compliment the thing a woman is insecure about. I'm not insecure about my looks. I know for a woman my age, I'm pretty fucking hot. So if you want to compliment the thing I'm insecure about, tell me you like my personality because that's the thing that's the most broken on me.
That's why you and I get along so well because I'm always talking about your personality and how funny you are.
Exactly. That's what's broken on me. So you want to get in my pants, tell me you like my personality and you like how loud and obnoxious I am. Then I'm naked.
Good to know. You guys now know. All right, guys, I got to wrap it up here before we go over again and it just cuts us off. But I want to thank everybody for being here today. Love all you guys. We'll do it again Thursday with AJ, and hopefully get Eva back here real soon. You know, she's welcome here any Monday. She knows that. But
I want y'all to get bored with me. If I show up too much, you'll be bored with me.
I don't know. You tend to always find stuff to make fun of me about.
No, that's easy.
Chucky D, start hitting up the bingo halls. All right, guys. Till Thursday. Thank you again for joining us. Lots of cool stuff ahead. Stay sportsy, Gulf Coast badasses.
Bye, guys.